my 2024 room slash studio tour. Let's get into it. I was gonna do a desk setup tour like I normally do every year, but I figured why not show the whole studio. And with real estate prices in Toronto, this isn't just my quote-unquote studio, but it's also my room. I guess I'll start with my bed. My bed wasn't always in this corner. I've had pretty much every arrangement of furniture in this room that you can probably think of. This happens to be the best layout that works for me. It doesn't look the best necessarily because, let's be honest, it's like the bed shoved in a corner. It's functional in that it gives me the most amount of space. Something you guys might notice is that I actually ended up getting rid of my bed frame. Now, I had an IKEA Malm bed frame, and that had two rails that were super nice to like put your phone on or glasses or a water bottle or something. But the problem is they were about, I want to say 4 inches wide, and that was on each side. So the bed suddenly became 8 inches wider, and you can see the layout right now. The bed would stick out way more from the wall, and I'd kind of lose more space. And so I am in search of a minimal bed frame type thing. Above the bed, I have an IKEA shelf, and that's a common theme you'll notice throughout the setup. A lot of stuff is bought from IKEA, and that's just because it's honestly the most affordable, and for the quality of items you get, they're typically okay. For the price, it's actually really good value most of the time. And I do have a couple of just knickknacks on the shelf, honestly, just collectibles, stuff that I've gotten over the years. So my favorite has to be the Lego 911. Above the shelf, I have my pegboard. Opted for a black pegboard. I went with something where I could just house the most used items that I have that I don't really want to hide away in a drawer but still have easy access to, like my headphones, batteries, cables that I'm constantly using. Let's pan left a little bit and take a look at my dream desk setup. This past year, I made quite a few changes to the setup, and let me get started with the biggest change, which is the desk. So Flexispot was kind enough to send out this desk for review back in the middle of last year, and I've been loving it. Although the top is a bit smaller than my IKEA solution I had before this, it is plenty for now. I obviously have plans to upgrade just the tabletop size, so it's a little bit bigger. I also added the optional caster wheels to this, so moving this thing is a breeze, especially when I'm getting b-roll or maybe taking pictures. I can kind of pull it out. If I get new accessories, new monitors, new anything, cable management's a breeze. So the monitors I'm currently rocking are the Gigabyte M27Qs. They're both 27-inch monitors, 1440p, 165 hertz, and they both feature KVMs, which means all my accessories are plugged in. So as soon as I plug in the USB-C cable from, say, my MacBook to a Windows laptop, or even if I have my MacBook already plugged in and I want to use my PC, it's literally a flick of a button. Everything will switch over, and it's pretty seamless, and I love that about this setup. I end up spending way too much time here, which from my 9 to 5, I then get into this content creation stuff. So we're already at 8+ hours, right? And then if I'm gaming with the boys at night, or even just talking to them on Discord or something, that's additional time that I'm spending at this setup. So I like to stand when I can, especially for like meetings or quick calls, when I'm doing some less intensive stuff where, I need to focus, but I can still, maybe stand. I like to hop on a walking pad. So I recently got this. It's basically a mini treadmill, and it's just a cheap one from Amazon. It's 2.5 horsepower, up to 7.6 miles per hour, and I would not recommend running on this thing. It is not long enough to support jogging or running. For me, I just like to walk at a casual stroll, basically. So anywhere from like 1.5 to maybe 4 miles per hour-ish. The thing only weighs about 50 to 60 pounds, so it's super easy to move out of the way. Now, where I spend most of my time when I'm not standing or walking on the walking pad is obviously sitting. And this is probably honestly like 80 to 90% of my day. And the chair that I have been using for the past couple of years is the Bayside Mesh 4 chair from Costco. Although an okay chair for the price, it was about $100. It really is bare bone, and it does look and copy off some more expensive options like the Herman Miller Aeron. It is literally a knockoff, and a cheap one at that. Thing has been creaking since the day I bought it, and every couple of weeks I'm having to use WD-40 to stop it from creaking. In addition, the armrests don't have much adjustability for me. Luckily enough for me though, Flexispot was kind enough to reach out to me and send me their C7 chair, specifically the C7B. This thing was super easy to unbox and put together. It came with the Allen key you needed, and it was quality. out of the box. I want to highlight some of the huge features this chair has that has just made it night and day between my old chair and this. It has a 3-way adjustable lumbar support, and of course you can adjust the height like most other chairs out there. Super smooth, breathable mesh back, and if you want, they even have an option for a full mesh chair where the cushion portion, instead of being a cushion like this, gets exchanged for a mesh portion, which for you heavy sweaters, or maybe if you live in a hotter climate, I know that's going to be game changing for you guys. I live in Canada, so it doesn't get too hot here. It doesn't get too cold in the part that I live in. So for me, the cushion is more than adequate. It also has adjustable arms, so you can either change the height of them by lowering or raising them as you need with the push of a button and get it just perfect and your posture. It also features a headrest that not only has height adjustability, but also tilt. Speaking of tilt, the seat itself also has tilt capability, so for those longer sitting sessions, you can tilt as needed. And my favorite thing to do, which is to recline on the chair. The good thing about this chair is you can actually lock it in place. And if you really wanted to, you could honestly take a midday nap on this thing and potentially even pass out for hours and still be comfortable. And in terms of sitting in other weird positions, which I know many of us do, for instance, maybe if you want to cross one leg up on the chair and leave one leg hanging, you could do that because of the 20-inch wide seat that this thing has. If you want to sit cross-legged, because of how wide the seat is, you can do that too. And I weigh 220. This thing can support up to 320 pounds, which is just absolutely crazy. I mean, that's like another small human. If you spend hours on your desk, I think you should seriously consider this chair. And if you don't want to swing the money for the C7, they also have a cheaper alternative, the C2, which you can see on screen now. And with how good the C7 is so far, I'd seriously recommend checking out the C2 instead of buying like a cheap, crappy chair from like Office Depot, Staples, or any big box store that you might have in your area. And the beauty is that Flexispot actually stands behind their product. They offer free 30-day returns, a 10-year warranty, and when I see long warranties that aren't optional add-ons for a fee, that just goes to show how much trust the company has in their product, and that's always a very good sign. I have a link down below in the description for this chair, so you could check the chair out, check out their other products, and to save $30, you can use code BDC7. The first powerhouse of my setup, honestly, is my MacBook. So I use this thing for literally everything aside from gaming. Pro 14-inch. This is a 10-core CPU, 16-core GPU. It can handle 4K video editing like a breeze. And for the average person that's not doing anything special, maybe just web browsing, day-to-day tasks, this Mac is still more than capable for day-to-day use. The second main powerhouse is my PC. It's still the same one that I built all the way back in early 2020, and very quickly, it has a 2060 Super, Ryzen 5 3600, 32 gigs of RAM, a couple of SSDs, and a couple of hard drives just to back up my personal files and my games, and it also supports M.2 SSDs. Let me get into my peripherals now. I have two mice that I rotate between. The first is the Razer Viper Ultimate. I pretty much use this exclusively with my gaming PC and mostly when I'm gaming. The battery has degraded significantly over the past couple of years, and the other mouse I use a ton is a Logitech MX Master 2S, which I've had for a very long time, multiple years at this point, and I am waiting on an MX Master 4, now getting into my keyboard of choice. I usually use my MacBook keyboard more frequently for longer sessions. I use my Keychron K8 Pro. The reason I love this board so much is for a couple reasons. One, the looks. What you get for the price, it plays well with Mac and Windows. It sounds pretty damn good from the factory. Have a listen. And both my mouse and keyboard are sitting on a Delta Hub felt mousepad. For sound, I'm still rocking my SteelSeries Arctis 1 wireless, which have taken an absolute beating over the years. The fake leather or whatever material they were using on the headband started fraying, so I had to tape it over, and honestly the headset still works great. The battery life, again, one of those things that's degraded for video editing or calls or anything. I'm using my AirPods Pros, or I'm using my speakers. Speakers of choice are the Audio Engine A2 Plus in black, sitting on the dedicated stands for them as well from Audio Engine, and these are just a 2.0 channel, so the bass is a tad bit lacking. I do want to pick up a subwoofer for them. These speakers have been out for well over a decade and no changes. Heck, the data cable on these is still USB micro B. Luckily, these just chill on my desk and I'm not constantly unplugging or plugging them in, so I don't have to worry too much about that port breaking or that cable breaking. These also have Bluetooth, and that's how I kind of pair them with my MacBook. I have also been using a BenQ light bar for years now, but it doesn't play that well with the dual monitor, honestly, and it looks kind of weird in the middle like that, so I have stopped using it for now. I also have an Alex drawer. Not much has changed in this regard. The top drawer, I just have an organizer also from IKEA, as well as some camera filming accessories, my everyday carry, so video on that soon as well, and some stuff that I just honestly need access to quickly, pens, pencils, etc. Second drawer is just some work related stuff, so skipping that. To the third drawer, I have my old camera, DJI Osmo Mobile 3, that still works perfectly fine even though it's older, and this is where my Sony mirrorless camera also lives when I'm not using it. Fourth drawer is some old Canon lenses, cleaning stuff, LTT screwdriver, chargers, and other random filming knickknacks. And finally, the last drawer, that's where I put my Blue Yeti. That's what I use to record my voiceovers. I really need to get a mount for it so I don't have to keep putting it back in the drawer and plugging in as I need it. I also have a ton of cables that I just can't seem to get rid of or put away in storage bins, because when I need it, it's just a pain to go look for it. So I just kind of left my bottom drawer as like a dump for all these cables. So that's honestly my desk setup for 2024. Now I'm going to get into my TV setup. The TV I'm rocking is a Sony X900H, and it's a couple years old now, but it did come out alongside the PS5, which means it has 4K up to 120 Hz. Absolutely perfect for gaming. Sound-wise, I got a Sony 2.1 channel HD S350. There are better sounding soundbars for the money, but it does sound 100 times better than the stock speakers built into the TV. And of course, it features Bluetooth and it auto turns on when the TV turns on, so I do really like the functionality of it. I did end up wall mounting my TV a couple weeks ago, and that's how it's sitting right now. Some of these shots are a bit older, and the wall mounting helped a lot with the immersive experience that it creates, especially at night, paired with the Govee Envision. So this is just a little camera that sticks off the top of my TV. I'm sure you've seen it online. It scans the picture on the TV and it changes the LED lighting on the back of the TV with respect to what's playing. And you can have a setting for either gaming or movies and it'll adjust accordingly. I also have a Govee lamp that also is paired through the app. So all of it works together to kind of change the lighting setup based on what's displayed on the TV. And console wise, I have my PlayStation 5, my PlayStation 3, so I can cover 3-ish generations of Sony. And I'm also rocking my Nintendo Switch OLED, which I don't have as much time to game as I used to, but this is my little travel buddy now. And if I'm ever on vacation, this is my go-to gaming device that I have to pack with all my other stuff. I did set up the PlayStation controller and charger in this little cabinet as well, and that way all my controllers are always charged. The cabinet system is also from IKEA. It's called the IKEA Besta. If you've been following me long enough, then you'll know I used to have a white media unit, which now lives in my living room, but that was just too big for this room. Finally, to kind of close off the room, pan a little left again, I got the infamous IKEA LAC shelving unit. So I know a lot of people use this to display their shoes and sneakers, and I was going to use it for that, but I don't have enough sneakers to fill up every shelf. So I'm still trying to figure out what exactly to display on these shelves. So it is a work in progress. And then finally, I have this IKEA ottoman type thing that I bought. It looks pretty nice. I honestly just needed something to fill the space, and I didn't want to put more shelving or anything in. So I sit here sometimes and honestly I just game, or if I'm on my phone, it's a nice little place to chill out quickly. That's pretty much my studio and room tour for 2024. And obviously you'll be seeing a lot more of this stuff on my YouTube channel, maybe in other shorts and reels that I post on TikTok or Instagram. So check out my other socials in the description down below. And don't forget, if you want to save $30 from Flexispot, use code BDC7. That's all from me. I'll catch you guys in the next one.